Welcome to Tuesday Talks with FEO. My name is Debbie Mann, and our guest today is Sandra Pitts from the Bread and Honey Festival. Thanks for joining us, Sandra.
Oh, thank you for having me, Debbie, and for FEO. This is wonderful, and this is a great opportunity for us just to have get together and have our Tuesday Talks. So this is Tuesday wonderful. Talks. Yes, yeah, yes.
So just a bit of housekeeping for. Sorry, Sandra. I'll just do a bit of housekeeping for everybody. If you're not already on mute, if you could mute yourself. Throughout there, we'll be talking about 30 to 40 minutes. And if you have any questions, feel free to either post it in the chat room and I will read it out to Sandra, or unmute yourself. And if you do, I will see that you've unmuted yourself so I can call on you. Or if I don't see you, just let me know. So that's it. So Sandra, welcome again. And,
thank you.
You're welcome. Just to let you know, Sandra and I were chatting a couple of weeks ago, and she was telling me all the great things that the Streetsville Bread and Honey Festival was doing. And I asked her to participate in our Tuesday Talks. So we're pretty excited to have you and excited to share the information that you have about how you reinvented yourself during the COVID times.
Oh, that's great. And I'll just give you a quick little background.
Sure.
I've been with the Bread and Honey for 12 years, and my co-host that's on today is Reg Vertoli, and he has been a long-time volunteer, very involved in our community, and our photographer. So he's gonna take us through with some photos so you can get an idea of what we've done. Just for those who don't know, the Bread and Honey actually is celebrating its 49th year this year, and it is one of the largest and longest running festivals in Ontario. So we're very happy about that. And prior to COVID, it has always been recognized as a top 100 with FEO. So thank you again. Just to let you know quickly that it originated back in 1973. The festival reflects the history of the Streetsville Founders Festival. It is about Timothy Street coming to our town in 1821. He set up the mills that produced the flour for a good part of Ontario. Down the road was the beekeeper who had 40 acres of land. He was around from 1943. It would take him actually 420,000 bees to produce the honey, 600 pounds of honey back then, to support our festival. I can't imagine now how much honey it takes, or how many bees, but he had passed on in his late 80s. However, this is hence why we have our Bread and Honey Festival. It's all about giving back. It's about our community spirit, celebrating our traditions and culture. And at the same time, the mill is still there, and they still supply the flour every year for our free bread and honey. So I thought that we get around 60,000 people that attend, and it's down at the Memorial Park on 30 acres of land, including there's an island with the Credit River that flows through, so it's very picturesque.
I love the history. I love how the Bread and Honey, like understanding where the name came from and the history of it, and that you've been keeping it up, for how many years now?
So it's 49 years this year.
49, Debbie. Yeah, that's great.
Yes. So, and we've remained true to our mandate, where it's about giving an affordable family fun weekend while giving back to the community. And it is actually the Lions Club, Rotary, the Boy Scouts. It's all different nonprofit organizations, churches, everybody coming together to create, this community spirit, but also to give back to their causes. For example, the Lions Club, they raise enough money by putting on our carnival to send kids that have cancer to camp for the summer. So, it's very important. And I just love that after, 49 years, we still remain true to our mandate.
That's
Sandra?
great.
Sandra,
So,
it's Reg.
yes, yes.
You mentioned the quantity of honey that was made. And how many bees was that again?
That was 420,000 bees.
Who counted those bees?
I don't know. No. But it is in the record book. And John Spruill was our beekeeper. And like I said, he passed away several years ago at the age of 89. So probably, I think it was 10 years ago now.
An interesting note on the founding of the Bread and Honey Festival. One of our founding members was Sam McCallion, which is Hazel's husband. He's long gone as well. And he came up with the our call to action. So again, our call to action is a family, fun, affordable weekend. And quite honestly, it's one of the biggest challenges we have is to make sure that it's a family-oriented and affordable weekend. It's one of our main drives.
Wonderful. Thanks, Reg.
Yeah. So we have.
Should I start this?
Yes, please start. You can start and show a few clips just to finish off about our festival before we go on about what we did last year. Is we have it's a 2.5-day festival. Starts on the Friday night. The Saturday morning is our kickoff. And we have a parade that goes a mile long through our town and then comes down to the park. It is, it's quite a tradition and everybody gets out. They have a great time. We also have a 1-mile race and it is just wonderful. We have all ages, they join in and it's just a great kickoff. We then have 3 stages and there's Mayor Crombie and our past Mayor Hazel there. She still comes every year to help. And here she is. She's turned 100 now. So, kudos to her. So she never misses it. And she insists on walking in the parade. She will not let us drive her. So we have 3 stages. We have a children's stage over on the island, multicultural community stage up on the upper lot where our arena in Streetsville, the Streetsville Arena and Community Center is. And then down in the park, we have our main stage. We've got a carnival, we've got great food, we've got a beer garden, we have vendors doing different, a lot of art exhibitions, artists, people just that have their own crafts, things that they do. And it's a way for them to also get exposure, sell. You can see in the bottom there, that was one of our artists and we had an art exhibition and they all had to do something related to bees. So that's why the flowers there have the honey dripping. And then you can see our children's stage, yes, and our carnival. So it's very,
Sandra?
Yes.
You'll notice that I'm the analytical guy of the group. How many slices of bread and honey do we produce every weekend? I think it's I helped with it last year, and it's all volunteer run. I think we had 19,000 slices of bread, slathered with margarine. And margarine's really important, kids, because if you don't use margarine, the honey just goes right through the bread. A big slice of bread that we cut right there, it comes from the mill, and then we dollop the honey on top of the bread. Then we have to hose down the whole area. Oh gosh, a couple times every day just to keep the area clear from all the honey that spills from your bread. So stop. I gotta stop. I'm starting to drool just thinking about it. Sorry. Go ahead, Sandy.
No, I'm ready to talk about what happened last year. So our festival last year, by March, the pandemic had started to come in. It is tradition that our festival is always held on the first weekend of June. So by April, yes, we did start to panic and we thought, okay, what are we going to do? And there was an option to do just sit back and wait. But we thought to ourselves, what could we do? Well, because Bread and Honey is all about giving back to the community, it's in our DNA, we actually decided to take $35,000 out of our funding to try to give back to the community. What we did was, and also I want to just thank the Arts and Culture Mississauga grant, as well as the Canadian Heritage. They nicely broke some of the rules for us and allowed us to, as long as we were showing that we were keeping the spirit of the festival alive, we were giving back to the community, they were so good at working with us in the funding. So you can see here, a couple of the initiatives that we started with was we gave back food. We found an area in Mississauga where there were actually quite a bit of homeless. There were people just like you and I. And then overnight, they lost their jobs during COVID. They were really, you know, the unemployment wasn't doing it, or the CERB for them. And they were literally living out of their cars. So it was so nice to work with one of our organizations, which is the Knights of Columbus. And this gentleman in the picture, he's 82 years old. He goes 3 to 4 times a day to go down there and man a few tables. And the dam, it is a place for the youth where they're in abusive family relationships. They need to get out. So we helped and supported the dam. We worked with Feed Mississauga, which is another initiative that was just started last April through Twas the Bite Before Christmas, which is all about feeding hope and feeding hunger. So we worked with them, and then Leave No Neighbor Behind, which is also through the Knights of Columbus, the Compass, another organization. Then we went and helped the Just For You shoebox project. So when we thought the kids were going back to school in September, the families, they needed toiletries, mothers were, diapers, things like this. We put together shoe boxes and we helped work on them, as well as we donated to them, which is through the Peel Children's Aid Foundation. And then later on, just before Christmas, we donated 50 turkeys to Twas the Bite Before Christmas Turkey Drive, which goes through Feed Mississauga. One of the things we regularly did, and actually to celebrate last June 5th, when we knew we weren't going to have our regular festival, is we worked with this lovely couple who, he was in the catering business. He was out of work. It was such a perfect fit. The Vic Johnson's Community Center, where we hold our festival, had a commercial kitchen. It wasn't being used either. So we all came together. Dale baked us the bread. Ardent, our mill, gave us the flour to bake the bread. They also came up with these little samples of honey. We had them all packaged. It was all done in the COVID proper way, where we weren't in the kitchen. It was Dale and his wife, Elaine. They would bring them out to us, and they'd also make us meals. And you can see them there. And that's also through the Feed Mississauga. We handed out to not just people in need financially, but the elderly were really suffering. And in Streetsville, it's an older community, and we could see the need. They were lonely. They were looking after a caregiver. They couldn't get out of the house. I'll tell you, when you brought these meals to their door, it just brought them, so much joy. Usually you'd have to just leave it on the doorstep, because of COVID, but they were just so happy. Reg did a lot through his wife's church. Again, you just forget. And this is 2 of our team members from Feed Mississauga, which actually, just to let you know, Dale in the last picture, he has actually prepared for Feed Mississauga and the Basket Brigade, which we joined in with, over 10,000 meals since last year. So since last April. And so, it's quite a great accomplishment. And I really feel like we were able to give back. Another thing we did was, which is part of which actually both of our grant providers were very happy to see, is we went out to some of our bands and performers, entertainers that were to come in on the weekend of, and we had them perform. Now, again, we had to do it in our COVID friendly way. So we had them go to senior citizens' homes. We have 3 actually right in our town. It brought them such joy, and they did such an amazing job. So first of all, these were, most of these performers, this was solely their livelihood. This wasn't their hobbies. So they came out, they were overwhelmed. They just were so appreciative. So we did a little bit virtual, but we tried as much as we could to actually take them right over to the seniors' homes. So the day of our Bread and Honey Festival, we had, here is Fiddlesticks. And actually, this is an interesting one. This one is in their backyard. So this one was virtual, but we all joined together online, and we raised money for the Eden Food for Change, which is one of our local food banks in town. And here they are performing again. So it was lovely. They also went to the senior citizens' homes. This one was actually, Reg and I were at this one from a distance. This one was the actual day of our Bread and Honey Festival. And this lovely Matt Zaddy and his wife, Heather Christine, came out, and they had to do a couple of sets because at that point, not many people were actually going out of the building. So what they did was they would go around the whole building playing, so people could come out on their balconies to their windows. And just a really good little story quickly was, there was someone's grandmother, Anona, who had been up in the building, and they had not seen their grandmother or their mother for 3 months. And it was just perfect timing. They were riding by on their bikes. She couldn't speak English. Heather Christine quickly started singing Moon River in Italian, Over the Rainbow. It was just, they could see everybody. It was just such an emotional event. But you know what? That's, Reg and I, at the end of the day, we just said it was all worth it just for that. Now, this is the Mississauga Festival Youth Choir.
Okay, perfect. And that will affect, because it said that I need to respond. I realized by Mark.
Got it. Sorry about that, Sandra.
Oh, that's okay. So this is the Mississauga Festival. They're a multicultural festival who they bring in anyone. There is no cost. They just want to help, give back. They came in and they did a lot of virtual. It was so lovely. And at Christmas time, so we could sing some Christmas carols. So they were great. They did 3 shows with us. And again, I just want to remind, the grants, that's what they want. They want the festivals to support the people. Every year, the Mississauga Youth Choir would come up to the children's stage or to our community stage and sing, and they're wonderful. Reg, there's about 25 of them?
Yes, and these are, some of them are special needs, aren't they, these children?
Yes,
or?
yes,
Yeah.
and yes, and it's just wonderful. So
Yeah.
that was another feel good. And what else have we done, Reg?
Well, here we go.
Okay, here we go. So here is not the most attractive piece of land in Streetsville on our main drag. I believe it was at one time a gas station, so it hasn't been developed over the years. However, what we did was we also reached out. One of our artists was Chloe, and she painted murals all along the fence. And I'll tell you, even after a year now, they look beautiful. There they are there. So we all, the Legion, the Vic Johnson's Arena, the Streetsville BIA, we all, different organizations came together. We actually commissioned her to do 2 of our murals. There they are there. So you can see, again, our Bread and Honey. And then our carnival, we always, the mill, that's what those gray pillars are in the back. That's showing our history. Little Mare Hazel's down in the bottom with our Sam, the mascot. And Sam has been named after her husband, our mascot. So something else we did is we usually have a beautiful Christmas tree village in the Streetsville Christmas weekend. We had the Santa Claus parade. Well, of course, we have the tree lighting. Of course, none of this could happen this year. So again, Reg, thank goodness, with his photography skills and his video skills, he met the mascot, Sam, and I over at the tree, and we did the tree lighting very secretly. And we turned on the lights, but we were able to capture it virtually for everybody this year, which was lovely. And it was a nice kickoff. So there's Sam, our mascot, just plugging it in. Usually it's like a drum roll and everybody gathers around. And so anyway, again, though, it was just lovely that we had this big tree in town. So February the 14th now, and again, we've ongoing been giving back. It was Hazel McCallion's 100th birthday. So what we did was in our town, we had a nice sign made, and then we had these 100 bees, which is our logo, on metal sticks, and we planted them throughout the town. Now what we're going, and you know what, it was lovely. And then I should say that one of our bakeries, Little Rose, she baked little hazel cookies. And so we were handing them out across from Tim Hortons to people as they were coming through and getting their coffee. Well, then we actually arrived at her door and gave her one, and she was thrilled, and she loves the mascot and very big part of Streetsville. So that was wonderful. But now where we start to take, go a different route now is moving forward now to next year, or this year, I apologize, is the new initiatives. With those 100 bees, we are now going to work with our community. This year, Sam is going to go virtual. And as you can see him down at the down at Vic Johnson's arena, we're doing a lot of cross promotion. And what he's going to do is starting June this weekend, or in June for our festival, is he's going to take these 100 bees, and anyone in our town who simply wants to, a restaurant wants to have, let's say, one of their burgers and make it a signature burger over the weekend, a bread and honey burger. Somebody wants to hand out a coupon. The bakery has a little bee cookie. We do not want any sponsorship, and we do not want to take away at all, like occur an expense. We just want to give back. So what we're going to do is anyone who simply even wants to put a sign in their window, be safe, be well, be kind, whatever anybody can do, we're going to stick one of the bees outside of their property. We're going to then put their logo, their name onto our website, combine it with the Streetsville BIA's website, put it onto our social media, give everybody a shout out. Then depending on where we are, because Peel is still in the gray lockdown, slowly opening, we will either try to bring in some of our artists to sing, you know, sort of in the distance. And if it's not possible, we already have in the works where we are going to have a gentleman, Jim Motton. He is got his truck. He's going to put speakers throughout our town. Our artists will then, maybe they'll be singing in their house or their backyard if they can't physically come into our town, and we don't want to draw a crowd, so we're working on that. And Jim will then MC, speak through our town, have their music playing. So even if people sit on their patio or sit out on the patios or in our town, have their windows open, they'll get that great feeling that they're actually, you know, part of the festival. The other thing is we're not going to bring it down to the park. Whatever we do this year, we're going to focus on shop local, give back to the businesses, support our BIA. Our B is going to go virtual. Reg was able to get him on a green screen where he can, people can just go onto our website. We're just finishing it off, and take pictures with our mascot. The kids love him, and he's, you know, he's just a really feel good. So everybody gravitates to the bee. They love him. So that's you know, what else are we doing, Reg? We're going to continue our Feed Mississauga, continue giving out. We're going to give out 600 slices of bread at least over the weekend. We'll see how much Dale can bake for us. And again, the flour will come through the mill. And yeah, we'll just continue on all year. So we will recognize it. Since we can't have our parade, we are going to bring our float up, and we're going to park it actually where we had our B signs, just sort of in a area that, you know, people can't gravitate, but it'll give that good feel. We're going to just, you know, paint our town yellow, yellow and black.
Sandra?
Yes.
At our last meeting, we talked a lot about how to go about on 2021. And a lot of the committee members mentioned that, you know, yes, help the needy, let's entertain. But the area that still is the biggest challenge is how to help everyone with their mental wellness, how to make sure people are having a good time, and, you know, and looking forward to the things that they're used to having with the bread and honey. The bread and honey in Streetsville is kind of like a homecoming weekend. It's the start of summer. It's the rite of passage for the youth. You know, and it's something they really start their summer with in the first weekend of June. So it's a challenge to try to come up with ideas and ways that we can improve their good feelings and make sure that things kind of behave in a normal way for them in their community. And yeah, having the bee coming out and walking the streets and, you know, doing anything we can to stick signs up encourages people. And we're still trying to come up with new ideas. If anyone has any ideas, please feel free to give it to us and we'll run with it. Okay, go ahead, Deb.
I have a really good idea. So at our conference, our summit this year, and he's on here. So I'm going to ask Kyle to speak about this. But Kyle did a show about juggling mental health. And so, you know, it will be up in I don't know when Jay's going to be posting it, but, you know, you may want to talk to Kyle after this and see what he's done. And it was really good and well received, and we got some great feedback. So just letting you know.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And
yes.
Kyle, did you want to just give a quick brief, or just have you? I'll send them your information later. So
yeah, thanks, Debbie. Yes, she can definitely send my information along. But yeah, it's a show about juggling and what it taught me in helping to cope with my own mental health. So it integrates a juggling show with mental health coping skills, especially since 76% of people right now are experiencing anxiety. So that's a thing we can talk about. And I'm pretty sure that we've worked together in the past as well. And we also have like physical distancing officers as well that go up and down the street and actually like basically clown officers that help get people engaged. So those are strategies. And I know I'm not the only person who has great things that have adapted during this time. I'm sure other people on the call do as well, but we can definitely talk more and what we can do to get some community involvement that can be done safely.
That would be wonderful, Kyle, because like I said, we're trying to look after, and you're right, mental health actually is not getting the attention, you know, it should. So you know what? Kudos to you, Kyle, and I would love to speak to you this week. That would be wonderful.
And I love that you have actually highlighted how important mental health is right now. It's a huge thing. And I know that the Streetsville Bread and Honey Festival is a thing that everyone looks forward to. We need those milestones.
Mm-hmm. We do.
It's, you know, honey isn't just sticky in Streetsville. It's what keeps communities together. So
that's right.
Yeah. So I definitely love to talk more about that. And I love the be kind, the beatitudes, I guess. That is what you guys are aiming for. So I love it. That's right.
Yes, thank you.
Does anybody else have any ideas that you can? I mean, I think this is a great round table opportunity for us to just share ideas and what you've done or what you're thinking of doing, or asking any questions to Sandra and Reg about what they've done. Okay.
Come on, Roseanne, you have a question.
Hi, I don't.
Hi. We talked already. You know what, though? Sorry, go ahead.
George does.
Well, I was just going to say that the probably the toughest thing that we're encountering, which you're right in the midst of, is what are we going to be able to do, and what we're not going to be able to do, and what restrictions we're going to have to put in. It is by far the hardest part of this. If I could take and say, hey, we're going to be in, we're in orange right now at our way. So if we're going to be in orange, here's the rules, and here's how we're living, which isn't as far from red or anything else except lockdown. I mean, it's amazing. When you go to yellow, nothing really changes. We were in yellow for 2 weeks, very exciting. But, but nothing really changed as far as the numbers were concerned when it came to events. So it's going to be a real challenge for us to sit down and pick that drop dead date as to what we can do and when. You know, we have huge crowds that we have to manage for 7 days. And in a typical year, over 120,000 people in 2019 visited over the 7 days. And some of it's in grandstand shows and stuff like that. So we know we have to rethink, or at least have the plans to rethink. But that's where the struggle lies, in the fact that we don't know what we're going to do. And you know, kudos to those of you that, you know, it may sound like being early and not being able to hold your event or do the changes. You know, we're just sitting here, you know, waiting.
That's right.
Waiting to see what we're going to be able to do and what we're not going to be able to, while having plans for option B, option C, option D. So
that's right.
Good luck.
No, thank you.
So Sandra, I did want to share something. I have fond memories of the bread and honey, as you know. One of the things I remember doing was a coloring sheet. And because it's so kid orientated, and I saw it in the photos and which not, I mean, you could always do pickups of coloring sheets and kind of do like a, you know, like a draw for something and do it all socially, or if maybe it's something you're already doing, I don't know, but it's kid orientated, right?
No, and that's a great idea, Roseanne. And you're right. Actually, we are going to have, I like your coloring idea. We're going to get some sidewalk chalk out, and we are going to actually have some bread and honey. They're called bucks or money, where we're going to have contests, and then they can only spend the money. And it won't be huge, but, you know, let's say 10 people get $25 or something, where they can go back in and they have to spend it back in the town. So we're going to have with our MC, and again, if there's crowds being drawn, what we're looking at is just keeping him moving. So we've got a couple, maybe 4 stops that he'll go to. And again, we're so worried being in gray right now with the, I think we'll be in red by June, but just with the whole COVID gatherings. And so, yes, you know what, but that's a great idea about the coloring. I like that. Everybody would like to color the bee. So it's great. Oh, we're also going to hand out some free bread and honey, because actually last year we now sponsor the Humble Bee host. We host actually a bee's hive, an organic one in Hamilton. Ideally, we'd love to have our own here in Streetsville, so that's something in the future. But yeah, it's been wonderful. So we've got a farmer's market coming up with the BIA, and we're hoping that we can, you know, give out some of our honey as well. So
Dave had something.
Yeah, just sort of jumping in on the COVID protocols and everything, and to George's point, one of the things that all of us sector associations that are on government tables are stressing to the government is the fact to need that information ASAP, because you know, it's one thing to say, okay, you're orange, you're green, you go, but you don't plan events that way. That there's lead time that's necessary. So we're trying to get all of that information on what does each color code look like? What are the numbers, so that we can start making those preparatory plans? Because like we said, you know, you don't just flick a switch on Friday and have an event on Monday, or flick it on Monday and have it on Saturday. There's lead time necessary. So that's something that we continue right from the beginning. We've been stressing to government and advocating on everybody's behalf. So unfortunately, we're not getting the answers we need, but
no,
it is on the table. So.
Thanks, Dave. Anybody else?
Thank you. Kyle.
Yeah, sure. So I know it's absolutely not an ideal scenario, but one thing that we were talking about like before Christmas and leading into 2021 is just connecting with people who like suppliers that can offer a variety of options. Like you said, having an A, B, and C plan in place.
Mm-hmm.
I know I had one client leading up to Christmas, they were planning a reverse parade, and then within a week they had to change over to a virtual program. So we just completely shifted gears and did what we need to do to get a virtual program together. So I participated in offering entertainment for that. It may be great to find suppliers and options, or if you're planning entertainment, you know, maybe like here's an option for in person, but be ready for this scenario as a backup. And I know you're working with Jim as well, who is fantastic at providing the speakers throughout town, and
yes,
which is also just a great strategy to have. Like, you're literally building resilience into your plan, which I think is wonderful.
Yes, thank you, Kyle.
If I could, you know, one suggestion that I'm going to make is to we have over 214 fairs in Ontario. These are agricultural fairs, and many of these either have access to or direct ownership of property. So those of you that are, shall we say, urban bound, you know, if you were thinking of how could we do something like a drive-through, because I was just thinking Streetsville, that'd be nightmarish, but anyway. But, you know, if you're thinking about doing something drive-through, that's the kind of facility that not only are you usually could have acres to work with in the sense of your event, or partially to partner with. They will, you know, most fairs will partner with anybody on anything that's practical. And if it can lead back to what they're all about as well, which is developing a community, I think you'd find a lot of support. And also you're looking at something that is not necessarily owned by the municipality, which in itself, I can tell you, can be a real bonus, because you're dealing directly with the people instead of having to go through the 3 levels of whatever it is you're trying to get accomplished. So I encourage you, and it's not just fairs, anybody that obviously controls property in your area, to think of forming out and reaching out for partnerships.
You know what? That's so true, George, because that's what, again, we've tried to do a lot of cross promotion and work together. And so we've just said together, we're all in this, you know, together, we'll get stronger. So that's one thing I have to say, positive from this whole COVID experience, is that we have all come together, and it's so amazing to see how many organizations and people have. So that is a positive thing, and it's worked well for us.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick example. One of the things we did during our fair week is we understood, because we were pretty hot at that time, that we couldn't do anything on the grounds, even though there was a lot of pressure. Can't we just put a few food trucks? Can't we do this? What we did is we contacted our food trucks, and we had them in individual locations throughout the community, and we called it our Fun Food Festival. And that allowed individual businesses to participate as the landowners, and then there'd be one food truck, which was very manageable. And then we made sure that most of our favorite food trucks were in those locations, so people got a taste of the fair. So it was an example where we worked with, you know, I think it was 14 or 15 different locations, didn't have a crowd to have to manage, and I think it worked out very well.
That sounds good.
I know someone had mentioned too that during our February event that they had entertainment that went out into not just up and down, not in their downtown area, but went into rural communities. Like, so not rural, into the neighborhoods in, like, that was outside of the downtown core, did a little set and then moved on, and everybody came out, sat on their lawns and listened to the music. So it's along the same lines as what you did, Sandra, but just reached out beyond the downtown core.
Actually, Debbie, it's interesting you say that, because actually this gentleman, Jim, who is helping us, he actually had thought of, if we can get everyone into town, and again, we have to watch the crowds. Hopefully our patios will be, they can sit out on the patios, but if they could still do curbside pickup. And then he was thinking of getting us an FM transmitter where everybody could then go home, sit on their driveways, go in their backyards, listen again to the festival, to the music. Jim will be doing a little trivia, just keep the vibe going and the spirit. And so that's another idea as well. So you're right, like, going home and having we just want the people to come in, get that good feel, and we do want them to support our locals.
Is there anything else, Sandra or Reg, that you wanted to say? It seems like, I don't know if anybody else has anything to share.
A couple of ideas, Deb, that I had that we still haven't got up and running yet. But again, trying to tie in our social media accounts and to utilize that as our communication tool. We normally have a fishing derby that the counselor usually runs, where he gives a bike to children. I think that can still happen. Like, there's a lot of ways that we can, along the Credit River, the jewel of Mississauga, the kids can spread out and fish and still have our derby in some fashion. Instead of showing the fishes, now will go onto the Instagram, and they'll be on display there, and then we'll have a judging there. I thought of, a good old, back in the day, scavenger hunt in town, where we post clues on our social media feed, and then people go out and try to find the prizes in the community. I also thought, I'm going way back into the history books, but remember when we used to dress up our bikes and have a parade? So we can get the children in the community to dress up their bikes, but not a parade, but post it on social, and we'll have a judging contest and award prizes. Another thing that we still have to figure out, because of our protocols and health protocols, is a bread making contest. Which is perfect for us. Something we've done in the past. We'll just reinstate it. The bread can end up at the mill. They can have a judge, and then we can have a nice winner online. I also thought of a dress in yellow day on the weekend. All the shopkeepers and everybody in town were out and about dressed in yellow to help remember that we're in our Bread and Honey weekend. Just a couple of ideas that we can still get going. It's just a matter of seeing what our health protocols is and get the volunteer base ready to roll. But anything that people can do, interact using social to be our base would be great. That's what I have to contribute.
Thanks. And I know that, and Dave may be able to speak to this, but Oktoberfest used to have a scavenger hunt per se, but it was all done on, were clues given on the radio, Dave, or didn't you get a radio?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was a radio partnership, and then there was also a print component. So it was announced, the clues were announced daily on a radio station and then reprinted the next day in the paper. And it went on for the month of September, hoping that somebody would find it was a key hidden in the city somewhere during the 10 days of the festival.
Oh, that's exciting.
And every clue got a little bit more. I don't think there was any year that the key wasn't found by the conclusion of the festival. So.
Oh, I love that.
That's an idea as well.
Yes. I think the other key is, for us is, we want to celebrate that weekend, but I think, just like I said, keeping the spirit alive and doing whatever we can do throughout the year. And like the tree lighting was a perfect example. Going down to Vic Johnson's, doing a little cross promotion with them. We'll just keep giving back. And then hopefully for our 50th, we'll have a big bang.
We hope so too.
Yes.
We hope so too. Well, I wanted to thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your story, for sharing your ideas. Everyone, thank you for being here and receiving all the information. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me and I can get it back to Sandra. Or, yeah, I can send you Sandra's information and Reg's information if you have anything that you want to say. George? Oh, you're done. Oh, I thought you unmuted yourself. You wanted to say something.
Just saying bye.
Okay, bye, George.
Good to
Thank you
Nice
everyone
seeing you.
for joining us on Tuesday Talks. We'll see you again soon. See you next week. Take care.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thanks.